Good morning. Let's all stand. Let's pray. Father, we come this morning thanking you, Lord, for blessing us to see another day that you have made, and we thank you, Lord, for the privilege to come to Selby County and deliberating over the business that is at hand. We ask your guidance and direction, and we thank you for all that are here. We ask your blessings upon us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll call our April 2nd County Commissioners meeting to order. And the first order item on our agenda will be the approval of the minutes of our March 5th and 17th Commissioners meeting. Are there any corrections or observations?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion they be approved as written.
Have a motion that the minutes be approved as submitted. All in favor? Aye.
Second. You need a second.
I'm sorry, you're right. Need a second. Second. Any further discussion? There was some correction. I was a little bit slow in finding it. On page 1415, you have a couple of editorials there. The first one is that second paragraph where it says, Chairman Jordan asked if they received any correspondence from Ellis. Ms. McGinnis stated that all have received at least a preliminary letter. We need to add A there. And also, under old business at the bottom, where it says, I, Frankie Godfrey, should that be co-owner? We have CC. Okay. Let's make that co-owner. All right. We will ask if you would modify your motion, please.
To make a motion to approve the minutes as corrected.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Thank you. Our second item would be to clarify that they are the March 5th and 17th minutes. That's approved. Next item would be the adjustments to the agenda. And we have two adjustments under new business. We want to add an item 8, which will be our Finance Director, Sandy Pittman, requesting reallocation of the HCCBG funding. And item 9 would be to appoint, the board needs to appoint our interim county manager as the review officer for our planning board. Okay. Yes, thank you. Need a motion to approve the agenda as modified.
So moved. Second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Thank you. Okay, our next item would be our delegations. We have unannounced delegations, which is our citizens' comments. Do you have any? Mr. Keith Letchworth.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. Thank you for letting me be with you today. My name is Keith Letchworth, and I'm with East Carolina Behavioral Health. I think most of you are familiar with what East Carolina Behavioral Health. If you don't mind, I'll shorten that and say ECBH as I speak this morning. But that is the governmental entity that's responsible for the delivery of services to individuals with mental health issues, substance abuse problems, and intellectual and developmental disabilities. And it does serve 19 counties in eastern North Carolina, including Gates County. We contract with over 300 providers across those 19 counties for services. But I'm not here to talk to you about specifically the mental health, developmental disabilities, and substance abuse services. My purpose here today is to share some information with you about NC 211. I hope you are aware of NC 211. If you're not, it is a statewide database of community services that has been developed by the United Way of North Carolina. And of course that does include the services that are available in Gates County as well. The reason I'm here talking to you about it is that in order to have the 211 phone line available, each county has to have a local partner with which United Way contracts in order to make that service available. And East Carolina Behavioral Health is contracting with the United Way of North Carolina for 17 of the 19 counties it serves as the local partner. 2 counties, Pitt County and Dare County, already had local partners, so we are not involved directly with those 2 counties around this particular initiative. And by the way, this initiative is part of the overall outreach of ECBH of investing in eastern North Carolina. And this is one of several initiatives that hopefully you'll hear more about in the coming months. But I did want to share this with you. And the community service database, I like to say it is a statewide database. It's available to any citizen in North Carolina. Including all those in Gates County as well. There are 3 ways that you can actually access the information about community services. One is dialing 211. And this service became available here in Gates County as well as the other 16 counties we're working with on December 31st of this past year. So citizens throughout Gates County can dial 211 and be connected with a call center in Durham who has access to the database of community services and can help the citizen find out about the service they are seeking. And one example that I've been using, unfortunately, food stamps has kind of been an issue and delay in people getting food stamps. And say a resident here in Gatesville calls and says, calls 211 and says, you know, I need some food. I didn't get my food stamps on time this month. Well, the referral specialist there in the call center in Durham can check the database, and they can look up the food pantries or maybe agencies or organizations that provide meals here in Gates County, and give that information to that citizen. So that they can access the food that they might need due to the delay of the food stamps. And that's just one example. Governmental services are in NC 211 as well as other agencies and organizations. And you might ask, why would East Carolina Behavioral Health want to be involved in this? Well, as you well know, citizens with mental health issues, substance abuse issues, or intellectual and developmental disabilities are some of our most vulnerable citizens. And this is one way that we can assure that they have access to the many other services that they might need in maintaining their health, both physical and mental health. Because East Carolina Behavioral Health only provides provides for the provision of those mental health, developmental disabilities, and substance use services. So we don't provide housing, we don't provide food. We have to rely on the other community agencies to help those individuals. And this is one way that we can help connect those individuals to the services that they need. We do also have regulatory and contractual obligations in which we have to maintain a community database of these services. We've got a database already in place that's maintained by United Way of North Carolina, so we're working closely with them to make sure that the information in that database is correct. In fact, we've just completed a 3-month effort to make sure every entry in that database, including all those for Gates County, is accurate, so that when a caller should call NC 211, they can get correct information and not be shuffled around from place to place, or get a number that's been discontinued for 6 months or something of that nature. There are 2 other ways that you can access the information besides calling 211, and that is, one is there's a downloadable app for both the smartphone and the iPhone, in which you can have access to that information wherever you go. And then the third way is there is an online database in which you can go to www.nc211 and conduct your own search and find out the resources that are available in a specific area. You can actually narrow it down to specific zip code in your search, and search for, you can search for housing, you can search for food pantries, you can search for child care, you can search for senior services, whatever community services that you might be in need of. In fact, there are over 22,000 entries in the NC 211 database for the entire state. So East Carolina Behavioral Health is very pleased that we're able to bring this community service to Gates County, as well as the other 16 counties that we're working with. And we wanted to share that with you, wanted to make you aware of it. And we actually did have a kind of official 211 kickoff last month, in which we made our inaugural call and had several representatives from the county. The superintendent of the schools was there, the director of, the assistant director of social services was there. So we were want to share that information, because the database and service is only as good as the people knowing about it and being able to use it. So we're happy to be able to bring that to you, and I'll be happy to entertain any questions that you might have at this time.
All right, we thank you. I do have a couple questions.
Sure.
First one, did ECBH develop this 211 service, or was this something developed by the state and you're kind of piggybacking on it?
This was developed by United Way. It's a national initiative in United Way, and United Way in North Carolina is the lead agency and actually developed the database.
Okay, so ECBH is basically endorsing it, and
We're participating, and we are the local partner. We contract with United Way of North Carolina for the 17 counties, including Gates County, and we are, as a local partner, we are responsible for maintaining and updating that database. We have access. We can go in and make whatever changes are necessary to make sure that information is current.
one of the things we see, especially in the faith community, is that many times when people come by who may be temporarily homeless, have some mental challenges, and we're looking for a contact. If we dial 211, will they be able to put us in touch with an audible person after, on weekends, or is it direct access to an ECBH behavioral consultant, or we might can, talk about placement or whatever provisions that can be provided to that person?
It's kind of a two-part question there. One is that the 211 call center is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So whenever you call, whether it's 3 o'clock in the morning or Christmas Day, whatever, you're going to be able to talk to a live person. So you will be able to submit your, get your request to a live person who can actually look at the database and provide that information. And regarding mental health service specifically, one of the things about NC 211 is they don't try to duplicate what other agencies and organizations are doing. And a good example of that is like the Smart Start partnerships. They're kind of the experts in child care. So you're not going to have every child care agency in Gates County listed in 211. When you call 211 asking them about child care, the referral will be made to the Smart Start partnership, in which they have the expertise to guide that person and connect them to the services they might need. And that is the same thing regarding mental health services. 211 may have some services that are listed in there and can share with, in fact, we are going to make sure that all the providers that we have are listed in 211. However, they do have the direct number to the ECBH call center, which is also available 24/7, 365, and can put that person in touch with the call center, and they have the expertise to help them connect with a provider to get the services that they need.
All right, thank you much.
All right, well, thank you.
I have a question. Are your agency paying a small fee affiliated or associated with that?
Yes, we are paying the fee. There is a fee to be a local partner in order to help support the telephone line as well as the call center. And actually ECBH is doing that for all 17 counties that we're working with. Our long-term goal is to gradually shift that responsibility to a local agency or organization, but we will be working, at least 3 to 5 years in the future to be able to do that.
Mr. Chairman, this is a very good operation. I can tell you from experience that previous county I was manager in, the United Way, of which I was chairman of the United Way at that time, worked with the county very closely to set it up. And I can honestly say it was one group that I never had one complaint about. And that was very good. So it operates very well, and it's a very, very timely thing for information about government and nonprofit agencies.
Keith, I had a question about the service altogether. Is it replacing anything that you were doing before 211?
No, it is not. This is in addition to any operation that we've had. Our call center is still in place and still, again, 24/7, 365, and handles the calls through our 1-877 number.
Okay. And the other question I had, on all of these services here, when you're developing that database, if you see that we don't have enough child care services to fill in that slot on the database, are you actively looking to fill those with multiple people? Or say, for example, there's one on here like crisis intervention.
Mm-hmm.
If we didn't have a name of an organization or a name of a person in that slot, are you trying to fill those?
We will be getting quarterly reports on the phone calls that we receive and the requests that are made. So we will have an indication at least as to the types of needs that are coming in through that phone call. And yes, if something kind of rises to the top, ECBH has what's called the community collaborative that's active in each county. that we serve, all 19 counties. And we will be working through our community collaborative to number one, make that need known, and number two, to help the community address that need.
And of course, you're screening all of these resources. Like, for example, child care. I mean, could a person who offers child care privately be a resource in your database?
Again, that's kind of an unusual, a different example in that all child care providers are not listed in 211. The referral will be made to the Smart Start Partnership, who kind of does that screening.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And another example would be aging services. Typically, all the rest homes, all the nursing homes and so forth are not listed in 211. The referral will be made to the senior center in that particular county who has knowledge of those agencies and organizations and can best guide that individual in the selection of the service or the
So that's
support.
done, after the call, that's done on a local level?
That's
good.
correct. That is correct.
Thanks, sir.
All right. Well, thank you for your time this morning, and unfortunately I have to go to Williamston to do another presentation, but I appreciate you letting me share this with you this morning.
All right, well, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
All right. Okay. Good information today. Our announced delegations, Ms. Keith Lassiter, Safety Program Plan Updates.
Good morning.
All right, good morning, please.
The attached plan is the Fort Gates County System Safety Program Plan. This plan was originally approved October 2010, after which NCDOT was trying to get a jump on the Federal Transit's requirement to do a system safety plan. So we originally put together the first plan, and since that time, the Federal Transit Administration has come back with some things that we had to add, and those are the things that we've kind of mostly changed today. I think on the first one is on page 2. It just added in page 2 on the first one at the top, A, effective 2012, moving ahead for progress in the 21st century, or the MAP 21 program mandated requirements for all public transportation to develop and implement a safety plan. That had to be added in. On page 6, under vehicle maintenance elements, on the last sentence where it started to establish this goal, we will at a minimum adhere to the vehicle's manufacturer's maintenance service manual, the wheelchair lift service manual, and any equipment service manual. So equipment was added to that part of the plan. And then on page 15, where if you move down to under whether the criteria include, the second bullet, no positive drug or alcohol test results within the last 2 years. That requirement was added. They could not have failed, but they could not have tested positive on any drug or alcohol test in the past 2 years to be hired. On page 23,
24?
page 23. Where you go down on the performance evaluation policy where it says frequency, there's a little section that's been added. The first evaluation is due before the driver operates a vehicle unsupervised in revenue service. And the second should be accomplished on or near their hiring date, which will serve as their annual evaluation, was added. Okay. And then page 62 to 64. Those pages were added to provide information as to which circulars for each part of the drug screenings where the requirements came from. That was added. Okay. On page 6.
Let me just ask a question there, probably just clarification. Under your description of changes, it said page 62 through 64, we call it a drug policy overview. But then on the page it said a drug and alcohol program overview. Is it a program or policy?
Well, we actually have a drug alcohol policy, but this is for the overall drug and alcohol program.
Okay.
And it shows all of it.
All right, just clarification.
Okay, on page 69. At the top where it says maintenance records include, and that's Asset Works Fleet Management Program documentation was added to that. And the maintenance schedule was changed. On the back, it has different, and I think I failed to include the preventive maintenance sheets. There are 4 different preventive maintenance sheets. It's A, B, C, and D, and at different intervals of the maintenance for the vehicle, there are different things that are required, of which each one of them is, of course, an oil change, tire rotations, and different things, but there are different things that the manufacturer required that we service at that time, and that's why that was changed. Before, in the plan, when each is $6,000, it listed out the things, and this time we just was adding that in the attachments. And, let's see, on page 1, well, and that's not here. And then on page 116, the medical review officer change. We use Safety Works consultant to secure our drug and alcohol tests, and they have changed medical review officers. So that changed. His name and address changed. And that was all the changes.
Okay, thank you. What is the board's pleasure on the updated revisions to the GITS Safety Systems Program manual?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the changes as presented to us.
All right, do you have a motion?
Second.
Motion second that we accept the changes to the safety program manual. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, nay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go into our administrative reports, but just before we go into them, I would like to formally announce in regards to correspondence and whatever that Melissa Coe is our interim clerk to the board, and all correspondence should be referenced with Melissa Coe as the new clerk to the board. Welcome aboard. Our administrative reports, first of all, the county manager.
Most of the interior work on the old courthouse is complete under the current contract. The structural work on the wings will begin on or about May 15th and should be completed by August. We're soliciting bids on the exterior power washing, painting, and gutter work to go on the building. And that also should be completed in the next few months. So things are moving right along on that project. On the administration building, the front porch steps, as you've seen, have been removed. They were severely damaged in an ice storm. And there was some concern about the porch itself. And so we just took the porch steps out so we could check they were damaged anyway, and we wanted to check underneath the porch. The porch is fine. So there's no problem there. We don't have to spend a lot of money we were concerned about spending. And within the next week or two, we will be replacing the steps on the front of the administration building. Yeah.
The type of tile or brick or whatever that's going back, is it going to be different from what was up there?
Well, the tile that's up on the porch is going to stay there. There will be no tile on the steps
Okay.
because of the damage and the slipness that they have when they're wet. And we are going to extend some of the rubberized rugs out over some of the tile. We have a lot of complaints of people slipping when it's wet on those tiles. So that will help tremendously in keeping people's footing when they walk up there.
Also, the guttering there at the end of the building drips a lot bad, and especially in this winter, the winter we've had, that water turns into ice. It's right at the bottom of the ramp.
We will certainly check on that. I appreciate that. Phase 2 meetings of the new pay plan have been completed, and we need the board's input on when to implement phase 3. So whenever you're ready, please let us know about that. Cooperative Extension will be celebrating this 100th anniversary soon. Local events will be held, and you'll be notified of those. And a May 20th celebration will be held in Raleigh at the Capitol, so you'll be getting some information on that also. The performance agreement has been redone by the county attorney and sent to Meridian, the assisted living facility developer, and hopefully that's proceeding along nicely. They have petitioned for a special use permit from the Board of Adjustment. The hearing will be held on that later this morning. There are several job descriptions being corrected due to some errors, and they will be sent to the Personnel Committee at a future meeting. So just making you aware of that there are a few, 3 or 4 of those that Personnel Committee will be reviewing, hopefully in May. The county manager in February signed a contract for a security system to be installed at all schools in the county. And this has been delayed because the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction by law must approve the plan first before anything's done. So hopefully they won't take too long and it can proceed shortly. Work is continuing on the budget and is on schedule, and I'd like to thank Sandy for being such a big help in this whole process. So everything's going, I think, as anticipated. So I know you'll be glad to hear that. Work continues on the assisted living facility issue. I mentioned the Board of Adjustment here, and I believe it's scheduled for April 17th. And so we're moving along with that and trying to assist them whenever we can without compromising our legal position. And be glad to answer any other questions.
All right, thank you, Manager.
Yes, sir.
I would like to add that the old courthouse is really looking good on the interior. And there are some real nice office spaces, and if the old courtroom is really refurbished the way it's intended, it's probably be a good place for meeting for the commissioners in the future. So we look forward to that. All right, the next item on our agenda will be our finance report.
You're included in your package. Do you have any questions?
All right, are there any questions on the financial reports? I don't recall any that I had. I did note some, we still have some over budget individual line items in several departments.
There are several, and keep in mind that any amendments that were approved in March are not included in those reports. Those reports are through February, they're on a month behind. So any amendments that you all approved last month will appear in the reports in next month's packet. And we're working to finalize, like a cleanup of any lines that we have out there. We will have those to you either next month or June to make sure that the budget's cleaned up.
Okay. All right. Tax department.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You have a copy of your collector's report. Nothing really different to report with that. I do want to call your attention to the collection percentages. You will notice there that our overall percentage is getting very close to our annual tax bill percentage. And the reason for that is just simply we're kind of weeding out those motor vehicles. And so the further along we get with that, the more those close to those figures will be. Do y'all have any questions in reference to the report?
How we doing with Zacchaeus?
We're still doing, we have not turned over the accounts to him that we received back from Ellis as of yet. We have written letters to those taxpayers, hoping to maybe get them in our office to pay before we have to proceed with Zacchaeus. We haven't had a great deal of response from those letters. And I will be at a collectors conference next week, and we'll meet with Mark Fardil with Zacchaeus to discuss those accounts, because I'm hoping with the work that was done in Ellis's office that we have to turn over to him, he will reduce, the fees involved with those. So I'll be talking with him next week on that.
The letter that we sent to Ellis offering to settle with the designated amounts he was charging by he turning the rest of them over. All of that has been done, and
We have not finalized things with him yet. I'm still waiting to get back some itemized statements from him on a few of those accounts that I wanted to see a little more detail than just that lump sum figure because of what it was.
was he in disagreement with any of the things that we presented to him?
No, I haven't had any problems in regard with that. Any other questions? I do want to remind you that we do have the Board of Equalization Review scheduled for April the 21st at 4 p.m. We will use the first 30 minutes of that for administering the oaths and also just kind of to review what your job is. At this point, we do have 2 appointments, nothing major, but we will get that information to you prior to the meeting that day. And also our advertising list for tax liens has been sent to the paper. The individual that we normally deal with that the email was sent to has resigned, so it's gone to someone else, and they're trying to put a rush on that, so hopefully we should see that in the paper in the next few weeks. And also you do have a couple of refunds for approval today. Get to my copies. The first of the refunds is a farming entity that this year, while they were reviewing, there are several different entities that they list property with, personal property, realized that they had a couple of pieces of farm equipment last year that they had actually listed with 2 different entities. So what this is just refunding that money on one of those entities. And the second is a taxpayer who had come in and settled their bill, and a couple of days after that we received the funds through the debt set-off program from the state.
All right. Okay, we have 2 refunds that needs approval. What is the pleasure of the board?
I move we make a refund.
Second.
All right, so motion second that the 2 refunds, of course, be approved. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, nay.
And Melissa has the originals for your signature.
I have one question for you. Person sells a vehicle now. They turn the tag in at DMV. Is there any need for them to come see you? Or is
No.
the state taking care of all of that?
No,
You'll get notified, it won't be on your list.
no, if they have gotten rid of that vehicle, they won't be renewing those plates again, so.
How about for the purpose of a refund?
That begins at DMV, and then it comes back to our office, depending on what the situation is, and depending on when the payment has been run through DMV. If it's within the same day's period, DMV can make that refund. If not, it has to come through our office. Because if things have gone through the process with DMV, then those funds will be coming to us. And so that refund has to come through us. It's been an interesting challenge, but it's working its way out, and we do have a webinar that Sandy and myself will be participating in tomorrow that hopefully will supposedly help us with coming up with some budget figures with motor vehicles. But I think it's been a much smoother transition than it was back in 1993. Any other questions?
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Just before we move from item B, I see in the package that we have a budget amendment for the community center,
Is that number 33?
33.
Yeah, so that was in there as an FYI amendment. That's
Okay.
covered under the ordinance that allowed us to do that administratively, was to reappropriate the funding. When we started the shared services agreement and those employees moved from county employees to school employees, we consolidated all those budget lines into the appropriation that we send to the Board of Education to pay them. Where before it was budgeted individually as salary and benefits, and we actually paid them here. So all that does, if you look at it, there's no increase or decrease. It basically combined all those lines to allow us to send that money to the school board to pay those employees through their payroll system.
Have we been able to address the use of funds that's taken in through the fees that are collected through the ViQuest?
Ken and I have touched base with that a little bit. We started that discussion yesterday, we'll be continuing that. I think we kind of figured out how we're going to do it, but we haven't had a chance to really sit down and go over it. I briefed it a little bit yesterday.
We'll have something ready for you for the next budget.
Okay.
I have a personnel report listed in your package. Of course, departmental reports and correspondence. Are there any concerns or questions?
I don't see Timmy here, so I'll ask the county manager. I saw where he had replaced a couple of those fire hydrants, and I know that are expensive items. Is there some type of program, or does he send them back for repairs or to be rebuilt or anything like that?
They're replaced by the time they get used, and the time they would have been.
I'll
But
cover
they're
it too.
replaced.
So I know they're replaced, but is there a type of program for refurbishing them or anything like that that makes them cheaper maybe the next time around?
No, sir.
Not that you're aware of.
I noticed under our emergency management on page 2, Billy said that he was he was doing a countywide ISO rating training. ISO generally stands for International Standard Quality Program Certification. What is that? Is that an ISO 9000, 2000?
It's a national type rating system for insurance purposes, and they go around and they check the county for emergency management, but most of it is related to fire departments and their ability to handle things, the equipment that they have, the fire protection that's available, that sort of thing. and the staff, and to make sure that they have enough volunteers in each department. It'd be a problem if a department was down to 7 or 8 volunteers, but if they've got 20 or 30 volunteers, they're in pretty good shape. So, and also looks at the boundaries of the fire department, fire district, and of course, in this particular case, we've got a county. So it looks at the ability to serve and how far away from the department itself are the homes, and are you going to be rated a 7, an 8, or a 9, or a 10? 10 being obviously the worst, and you're probably not very close to a fire department, not within 6 miles anyway. So those are all the things that are come in, and they come around about every 5 to 6 years and do that in every county in the state.
That's a cost fee service.
If there is any fees associated with it, it's usually consumed by the department itself.
All right, so they will provide some kind of certification or written recognition.
That's correct.
Any other departmental? All right. About articles of interest in county calendar. We'll go into our old business. I believe that will be the appointment of a board of adjustment member. You have in your package 2 applications, one from Mr. Joe Green and Mr. Anthony Felton. And I believe we need one alternate on that board, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And what is the pleasure of the board?
Make a motion that we appoint Joe Green to the Board of Adjustments as an alternate.
I'll second that.
I have a motion and a second to appoint Mr. Joe Green as alternate to the Board of Adjustments. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Okay. Mr. Gill will contact him. Thank you. All right, next item, new business, which is the consideration of a child support contract extension. And I believe we have Young Williams represented here. You have in your package the contract, I believe, from the past 5 years, all right? And Jeff, if you all want to brief the board, brief the board briefly on what Young Williams does for the county and how they have served for the past several years.
County Manager, Board of Commissioners, you've got in your packet a letter on my behalf and also the contract extension and the numbers there. Young Williams provides child support services to the citizens of Gates County and for those children who have an absent parent living outside their household. What Young Williams does for us, they handle all those services. They establish paternity, they collect child support to ensure that it is distributed in a timely basis to those single-parent households for those children and for their benefit and it helps with their well-being. Those are the services that are provided. Back in 2009, the state gave the counties the option of it was a county-state option where the state would handle that child support if the county wished them to. During that legislative sessions, they informed the counties that they would be responsible for the administration of those services. At that time, Gates County went into partnership with surrounding northeastern counties to contract those services to a private provider, which was Young Williams. They've been providing our services since that time. We currently share office space with Pasquotank Camden and Perkins County, with the office being in Elizabeth City. And the other counties that are also partnering with Young Williams in the northeastern part of the state are Hertford and Bertie County, Currituck and Dare, and also Chowan counties. I will let Ms. Carla West give you any other updates that I failed to mention, and if you have any other questions, we'll be happy to try and answer those for you.
Good morning. I can't think of anything that he didn't cover other than we have really enjoyed our partnership with Gates County. I'd like to introduce you to Alden Miller, who is actually the office manager that oversees the staff and the cases that Gates County has. We feel like we have been very productive for the county and hope that you consider continuing to work with us. And I'll answer any questions that you might have.
I think this is a 3-year contract.
The original contract was a 1-year contract with 3 one-year extensions. We are offering to the county either to extend for 1 year or to extend for 1 year with 3 one-year extensions. As of today, Camden, Bertie, Pasquotank, Perquimans, Currituck, and Dare have all voted to extend for 1 year with 3 one-year extensions. Chowan is in the process of getting that approval by the board, and Hertford County is meeting on Monday, actually, to vote on this.
So the list we see here at the bottom, the 3 remaining is us and 2 others.
That's correct. Chowan and Hertford are the only other 2 that have not made the vote yet, but are in the process of doing that.
When we signed our initial contract with Young Williams, the office was in Elizabeth City from the beginning, is that right?
That's correct.
You stayed there, and the amount of staff you have there is?
It's remained the same. As a matter of fact, many of the staff that were there are still there. We've had very small turnover. I believe 2 individuals in the last 4 years have left. So we've been able to maintain a very cohesive unit of experienced employees.
That number of staff is how many?
There is a total of 14 staff in our Elizabeth City office that serve the 4 counties.
Would you, and the reason I'm asking this question is because when this came up, we asked the question, in the future, would you see a need to have a satellite office that could possibly be in Gates County? To not just handle us, but maybe to handle some of the others, Hertford, Bertie?
We come to Gates County at least once a month, and so any individuals that want to meet with us that aren't able to travel to Elizabeth City, we can meet with them here in Gates County, actually here in the courthouse. We also are very amenable to coming frequently to DSS, but honestly we have not heard much feedback of individuals from Gates County having a problem coming to Elizabeth City, so we have not set up anything formal. We did spend a couple of months here a couple of years ago. We had a staff person located in DSS. Very few people came to the office to meet with them while they were here, so we haven't, but we are still amenable to that if it became something that the county would like us to do.
What we really want you to take care of our people, but we want you to build a building.
Oh, oh well.
Economic development.
That's right. I want to see the brick and mortar. We thank you for what you're doing.
Thank you very much.
I will add, I believe I asked this during the DSS board meeting. I think we had 1 or 2 employees from Gates County that went with Young Williams when you all took the first contract. And I think he said there's employees that are still there.
That's right. The same individuals that were serving Gates County prior to 2010 are still working with the Gates County caseload. That's true.
All right, thank you much.
Thank you.
All right, we have before us the options of entering this contract. We can enter for 1 year with 3-year extensions, with 3 one-year extensions, I believe that's the way you should say it. And what is the pleasure of the board?
Chairman, I make a motion that we accept the contract with the three one-year extensions as presented to us.
For 1 year with 3 1-year extensions.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Second.
All right, your motion is second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay. So the next item would be the reallocation of the housing, what's the HCCBG funds,
Yes, sir.
which were funds that were allocated to Gates County. We're going to use them in the housing committee, I believe originally, but due to time and the amount of paperwork that was required in order to access those funds, it was not feasible for this year. So I believe what happens is that these funds are allocated to various programs so that they can be used within Gates County.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Okay. So Sandy, if you will.
Actually, you just summed up everything I was going to say. It's really, the paperwork is here and it required signatures, so I wanted to bring it before the board before we signed anything to make sure that you all were aware of the changes and good with those changes.
Okay. Any questions, or we can state the motions as the board pleases.
These were at your seats when you got here. I apologize. I just got these in Friday's mail. So copies should have been available to you this morning. I'm sorry.
I don't think we have them.
Oh, I see this, this memorandum is all I see.
Yeah, it's the area aging,
Okay.
Mark Fisher area aging.
Yes.
And we basically need to approve utilizing those funds through forgets, in-home service.
Yes. And the meals program as well.
All right.
So Sandy, you can call this a funding change or?
Yes, it's basically a reallocation of the grant funding, and in the next batch of amendments that I do, I'll have one in there to reallocate any of the county matches as necessary. The matches are already in place, they'll just need to be reallocated between the programs.
Sure. Mr. Chairman, we're talking about grant dollars here, just move them to the appropriate place.
That's right.
I move that we accept that reappropriation as submitted.
Okay.
Motion.
Second motion.
All right, the motion second, that we reallocate the grant funding through HCCBG. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, our next item would be to appoint our interim county manager as a review officer. As the board is aware, we do not have a planning officer who normally performs those functions. And it is a legal requirement that has to be done prior to approval of various zoning requests and building permits, so forth. So we need to authorize the county manager to do that.
So move.
All right.
Second.
All right, the motion is second, that we approve the county manager as the review officer. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay. Okay, we're all set.
Yes, sir.
Okay, we're moving right along. Our next item on the agenda would be our citizens' comments. Okay, we don't have any. Commissioner comments.
Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Okay. I need to give a public service announcement given to me by Jonathan Jones. The Gatesville Elementary School, as well as a lot of teachers across the county, are throwing their support toward a fundraiser for a lady that has a child at the high school who needs a van for medical transport, needs a van with a wheelchair lift. And the Gatesville Elementary School is selling tickets. State Employees Credit Union is selling tickets for a pork chop dinner, and they're $8 a piece. And they're asking us to make this public and asking us to do what we call supporting our own people or taking care of our own. And I know Jonathan has 50 tickets. I think it's probably sold quite a few of them. Henry, I think you got yours.
Yeah, I've got mine.
Yeah, I've got mine already. But anyway, if you can support that, and even if you can't eat a pork chop, they will take your money. So anyway, at Gatesville Elementary School is selling tickets, and State Employees Credit Union is selling tickets. It's good to see everybody here. Have a great day.
I'd like to also thank everybody that came today, and certainly I would like to see you come back and continue to come see what your county is doing. I feel like the county does a lot of great things, just like some of the things that you've seen today from the United Way, what they're doing. ECBH is, and these are all programs that the county has available to the citizens of the county. And sometimes the only way that you really see it and know it is to come to the meeting and hear a little bit about it. And then you can go back out and ask questions and get a little more informed on it. So I do thank you for coming.
I also thank you for coming, and spread the word about these programs that have been talked about today to your neighbors and to the people in your church. So the more people who know, the more people can access those programs. Thank you for coming, and it looks like maybe spring has arrived.
It is very important to have each one here today, and glad to see you, and I'd like to see the whole courtroom filled up every day for these meetings. The more knowledge we get for Wright County, the more support we get for anything that needs to be done. I'd like Jack to have a public service announcement too. On May the 1st at 12 noon, there will be a National Day of Prayer here in this room. And each and every one, including all of the commissioners, is encouraged to attend.
What's that
May the
date?
1st at 12 noon here.
May 1st?
May 1st.
Okay. The county manager has an announcement.
Yes, sir. One thing I didn't mention earlier is April the 9th, there's a district meeting of the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners in Bertie County, and they'd like as many commissioners as possible to attend. So if you haven't talked to Melissa yet about going, let her know. It's at 5:30 p.m. and will last until about 8:30 or 9.
And what date was that again?
April 9th.
In Bertie County.
Do we have you register, pre-register?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, thank you. I too thank everyone for coming and being a part of our meeting. It's been said many times that when we look at our local government, that is the first step in making a difference in our lives. We look to Washington, D.C. many times, but that's kind of remote. But our local government is something we can participate in, and I really do appreciate everyone coming and having an interest in what we're doing and the decisions we're making that affects everyone. It's been mentioned to be aware of all of the programs and things that are available. I think this 211 is something good for us. I know I'll probably be using it sometime in the future, so I'm glad to be made aware of that. So again, have a great day, and hope to see you next time.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to say one other thing. I saw this on right here in front of me, and I hope all the commissioners got it. On May the 1st, there's going to be an open house, Thursday, May the 1st, from 11 to 6, celebrating the 100 years of cooperative extension. And they're gonna be doing this at the county library. Is that at the county library?
That's right.
And then they're gonna have a tree planting dedication at the Gates County Library. Also on Wednesday, May the 7th, following the county commissioners meeting on the 7th. And I have two at my place here. If anybody is interested in going, and there's a stack of them up there, please pick those up and please attend if you can. These are great things.
Yeah, I also, thank you for saying that 100, Kenny, that reminded me. This past week, we recognized two of our citizens in Gates County who had century birthdays, were 100 years old. And I thought it was a great recognition. One of them was at Down East Nursing Home. But if you have family members or friends that you know that are approaching the century mark, certainly the Board of County Commissioners want to recognize them in the county because that is a milestone, it's an achievement. There's a lot of history there, and so just keep that in mind. We're always receptive to recognition of those who reach that kind of milestone.
Mr. Chairman, while I was thinking about it, I did attend the one at Diane East, and it was I had a good time, I really did. It was a wonderful celebration of her life. But we do have one, and we do not have a second meeting this month. Annie Spivey will be 100 and...
I think it's 109. That's
109. It's in the first days of May. I think it's May 10th. But we need to get a letter of celebration.
Yes. Certainly. We'll make a note of that as well. All right. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. We will certainly get something out to her. All right. If there's nothing else, we will entertain a motion to go into closed session in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 143, 318, 1183, 4, 5, and 6.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion second. All in favor, aye? Aye. All opposed, nay. Thank you much. Okay, we need a motion to come out of closed session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay. All right, we have 3 items that we need to make a motion on. First item is to authorize the county attorney to contact our CDGB SCADA site administrator, Mr. Brandon Nolan, and discuss the living expenses as discussed in closed session.
So moved.
Second.
After the motion second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The next one, we need to authorize our county attorney to discuss final disbursement of our previous county manager as discussed in closed session.
So moved.
Second.
All right, motion second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. The third would be to authorize the county manager, chairman, and county attorney to negotiate the proposed agreement as discussed in closed session with the conditions and contingencies documented by our county attorney.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. All right. If there's no other business that we have at hand, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Motion.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Okay, got it.